played by the rules of a society that preaches fairness while practicing ruthlessness. You were taught to be good, but you weren't taught how to be dangerous. And that is why you lost. But look at yourself now. Every scar you carry is a map of a territory you have conquered. Every betrayal was a masterclass in human nature. You are not a victim. You are a survivor who is currently under reconstruction. In the year 1645, a man sat in a cave called Rigando. His name was Miyamoto Musashi. He was 61 years old, and he had killed 61 men in single combat. He did not lose a single time. He was the ultimate predator in a world of wolves. But as the sun began to set on his life, he realized that the sword was just the beginning. The real war was internal. He picked up his brush and wrote 21 rules. The Dokkodo, the way of walking alone. This was his final transmission to the warriors of the future. It was not a guide on how to kill, but a guide on how to be untouchable. Today, we are resurrecting those rules. We are taking the cold, hard logic of a 17th century samurai and weaponizing it for the year 2026. This is not motivational entertainment. This is a surgical strike on your current identity. We are going to execute the version of you that is weak, the version that seeks validation, and the version that fears the cold. By the time this transmission ends, you will not recognize the eyes staring back at you in the mirror. Because from this moment on, you are the storm. Rule 1. Accept everything just as it is. Acceptance is the ultimate foundation of power. Most people live in a state of constant emotional friction. They wake up and complain about the weather. They go to work and complain about their boss. They go home and complain about the economy. They are in a perpetual state of war with reality. And because they are fighting reality, they have no energy left to fight their enemies. Musashi tells us, accept everything. This does not mean you like it. It does not mean you are happy about it. It means you acknowledge the facts without the interference of your emotions. If you are betrayed, do not waste a single second asking, how could they do this to me? Instead, acknowledge the fact. I have been betrayed. Once you accept the reality, the emotional weight vanishes. You're no longer a victim of a tragedy. You are a strategist facing a new set of circumstances. In the modern world, acceptance is your shield against the outrage culture. Everyone is offended. Everyone is shocked. Everyone is waiting for an apology from the world. A samurai waits for nothing. If the market crashes, he accepts it and finds a way to profit from the chaos. If a partner leaves, he accepts it and refocuses on his mission. When you stop resisting what is, you gain the clarity to see what can be. Resistance is for the weak. Acceptance is for the architect. From this day forward, stop wishing things were different. See the board for what it is. Only then can you make the move that ends the game. Rule 2. Do not seek pleasure for its own sake. You are being farmed. You live in a world designed by psychologists to keep you in a state of constant low-level addiction. Your smartphone is a dopamine dispenser. Your food is a chemical trap. Your entertainment is a digital sedative. They want you comfortable. They want you soft. Because soft men are easy to govern. Soft men do not challenge power. Soft men do not build empires. Musashi knew that pleasure is the rot of the soul. He lived a life of extreme austerity. He didn't avoid pleasure because he was a saint. He avoided it because he was a warrior. He knew that if he became addicted to a soft bed, he would fear the cold ground. If he became addicted to fine wine, he would fear the thirst of the march. Every time you give in to a cheap pleasure, you are giving away a piece of your sovereignty. You are telling your brain that your impulses are more powerful than your will. To live like a samurai in the modern world is to go on a dopamine fast. It is to find pleasure in the struggle, not in the reward. The pleasure should be the feeling of your muscles burning during a workout. The pleasure should be the silence of your room at 4 a.m. while you work on your craft. The pleasure should be the cold water hitting your skin when you want to scream. When you stop chasing pleasure, you become immune to the bribes of the world. They can't tempt you with comfort because you have mastered the art of being uncomfortable. Kill the boy inside you who is always looking for a treat. Become the man who finds satisfaction in the execution of his duty. Rule 3. Do not, under any circumstances, depend on a partial feeling. Indecision is the silent killer of ambition. Look around you. The world is filled with people who are trying to do things. They are thinking about starting a business. They are considering getting in shape. They are operating on partial feelings. They have one foot in the door and one foot out. They want the result, but they are afraid of the cost. Musashi taught that a partial feeling creates a heavy blade. If you strike with doubt in your heart, your cut will be shallow. If you move with hesitation, you will be countered and killed. He commands us to be absolute. If you decide to do something, do it with every fiber of your being. Burn the ships. Cut off all avenues of retreat. When failure is no longer an option because you have nowhere else to go, you will find a level of focus that ordinary people consider supernatural. In your life, this means ending the era of maybe. If a relationship isn't serving your growth, end it completely. Don't take a break. If a business idea is worth pursuing, give it your full attention. A partial commitment is a waste of time. It gives you the illusion of progress without the reality of results. Total commitment is terrifying because it means you have no excuses left. But that terror is where the power is. Be the man who moves with such certainty that the world has no choice but to get out of your way. Rule 4. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Your ego is the primary obstacle to your elevation. We are taught to love ourselves, to value our feelings, and to express our truth. This is a trap. It keeps you focused inward, staring at your own navel, while the world moves around you. Your ego makes you sensitive. It makes you prone to being offended. It makes you arrogant when you win, and suicidal when you lose. Musashi tells us to think lightly of ourselves. You are not that important. Your feelings do not matter. Your identity is a construct that can be changed at any moment. When you think lightly of yourself, you become a ghost. You cannot be hurt because there is nothing to hit. You cannot be insulted because you have no pride to wound. You become a pure instrument of action. At the same time, you must think deeply of the world. Observe everything. Study the mechanics of power. Study the psychology of your peers. See the invisible threads that move the masses. Most people are too busy thinking deeply about their own insecurities to notice the opportunities staring them in the face. By shifting your focus from the I to the world, you become a master observer. You see the gaps in the market. You see the truth behind the lies. Become a mystery to yourself and a master of your environment. Rule 5. Be detached from desire your whole life long. Desire is the invisible chain that binds the powerful to the pathetic. Look at the men around you. They are slaves to their appetites. They are driven by the need for more. More money, more status, more women, more validation. They think they are pursuing these things, but in reality, these things are hunting them. Every time you desire something desperately, you give that thing power over you. Musashi lived a life of total detachment. He didn't avoid the world. He mastered it by not needing it. When you want nothing, you are capable of anything. A man who desires a high-paying job will swallow his pride and accept disrespect to keep his paycheck. But the man who is detached, he is dangerous. In your life, detachment is your ultimate leverage. You can walk away from any deal. You can end any relationship. You can pivot your entire life in a single night because you have no anchors. Enjoy the spoils of war, but never for 1 second let your happiness depend on them. Rule 6. Do not regret what you have done. Regret is a luxury that a warrior cannot afford. It is a form of mental masturbation where you punish yourself for a past that no longer exists. Every second you spend thinking about what you should have done is a second you are stealing from what you must do now. Regret drains your battery. It makes your hand tremble. Musashi killed young men. He killed old masters. He knew that the moment the blood hits the grass, the event is over. You cannot unstrike a blow. Most people are paralyzed by their past mistakes, carrying their failures like a backpack full of stones. Drop the backpack. If you failed, you failed. Take the data, extract the lesson, and incinerate the emotion. A samurai looks at his past as a collection of war stories, not a list of regrets. Do not dull your edge with the tears of what if. Rule 7. Never be jealous. Jealousy is the ultimate confession of weakness. It is the sound of a man admitting that he doesn't believe he can achieve what another has. When you feel that bitter sting of envy, you are signaling to your own subconscious that you are inferior. Musashi walked the earth alone, never envying the lords in their palaces. Why? Because he knew his path was his own. Jealousy is a distraction. In the digital age, you are being programmed to compare your behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reels. Stop. Every second you spend watching someone else's success is a second you aren't building your own empire. If someone is better than you, don't hate them. Study them. Break down their strategy. Use their success as a blueprint. But never let jealousy enter your heart, for it is a rot that will consume your focus. Rule 8. Never let yourself be saddened by a separation. The world is a revolving door of people, friends, lovers, allies. They all come and go. Most men are devastated when a relationship ends, spending months trying to fix something that was meant to break. Musashi understood the way of walking alone. He knew that every alliance is temporary. Do not mourn the exit of anyone. If someone chooses to leave your life, let them go with total indifference. Your mission does not stop because someone decided they no longer wanted to walk beside you. An untouchable man is like a mountain. Clouds come and go, storms lash against the peak, but the mountain remains. Your stability must be independent of who is currently standing next to you. Rule 9. Resentment and complaint are appropriate, neither for oneself nor others. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for your enemy to die. Complaining is the outward manifestation of this poison. When you complain, you are broadcasting your helplessness to the world. A samurai does not complain about the weather or the terrain. He adapts. If someone wrongs you, handle it or ignore it. There is no third option involving whining. How much breath have you wasted complaining about things you aren't willing to change? Every complaint is a leak in your power. Stop explaining. Stop justifying. Silence is the ultimate expression of strength. Let your actions do the talking, and let your silence be the wall that your enemies cannot climb. Rule 10. Do not let yourself be guided by the feeling of lust or love. This is the rule that destroys most men. Lust makes you stupid. Love makes you soft. When you are guided by these feelings, your judgment is compromised. You make decisions based on hormones instead of logic. You become predictable. This does not mean you should be a monk. It means you must be the master of your impulses. Never let a woman or your desire for one be the compass of your life. Your purpose must always come first. Enjoy the company of others, but never let the feeling of love become a leash. If you have to choose between your mission and your heart, choose the mission every single time. The heart heals. A failed mission is a permanent stain. Rule 11. In all things, have no preferences. Preferences are the bars of a self-imposed prison. Every preference is a vulnerability, a handle the world can use to pull you in a direction you didn't choose. Musashi was a master of the void, fighting in the mud or on a polished floor with equal effectiveness. You must become a universal soldier. If you can only be successful when things are perfect, you will never be successful. True power is the ability to operate at peak performance when everything is falling apart. Can you work when you're hungry? Can you lead when you're tired? Strip away your preferences. When you need nothing to be right in order to perform, you become a force that cannot be stopped. Rule 12. Be indifferent to where you live. We are taught to seek roots, to settle down, to build a nest. But a nest is just a fancy trap. Most men fear moving because they've become emotionally attached to a zip code. Musashi knew that the only territory that matters is the 6 inches between your ears. Do not let bricks and mortar define your identity. If your growth requires you to leave everything behind, do it without a second thought. Be a ghost in the system. An untouchable man is like Mercury, impossible to grab, always adapting. Home is not a place. It is a state of mind. Rule 13. Do not pursue the taste of good food. This is a lesson in sovereign willpower. We live in an era of culinary hedonism where food is a drug used to sedate the masses. If you cannot control what you put in your mouth, you cannot control anything. Musashi saw food as fuel for the machine. Discipline starts at the dinner table. If you cannot say no to a piece of cake, how will you say no to the temptations of the world? Break the power that food has over you. A man who can survive on basic sustenance while others are crying for luxuries is a man who can outlast any siege. Rule 14. Do not hold on to possessions you no longer need. Everything you own owns you. Physical clutter is mental clutter. Every object you own is a tiny piece of your attention being held hostage. Most people are living in storage units for things they don't even use. Musashi owned 2 swords and the clothes on his back. He was free. Look at your life. The clutter is keeping you slow and heavy. Mobility is power. Execute the clutter. If it doesn't help you win the war you are currently fighting, it is baggage. Travel light, and you will move with the speed of a predator. Rule 15. Do not act following customary beliefs. Customary beliefs are the rules mediocre people use to keep everyone else mediocre. Society is a factory of compliance, wanting you to follow the standard path. Musashi rejected the customary beliefs of his time, inventing a style that was considered wrong until he started winning. Stop asking for permission. If you follow the crowd, you will end up at the slaughterhouse with the rest of the sheep. Analyze reality yourself. If the social norm is a lie, ignore it. Your only debt is to your own mastery. Be the anomaly in the system. Rule 16. Do not collect weapons or practice with weapons beyond what is useful. Information is the modern weapon, and most of you are just weapon collectors. You listen to the podcasts, you buy the books, but you never go to war. Knowledge without application is just entertainment. Stop consuming and start executing. One piece of knowledge applied is worth more than 1,000 libraries of theory. Pick one skill, one business, one craft, and master it until it is an extension of your soul. Everything else is just a distraction designed to make you feel productive while you're actually just stalling. Rule 17. Do not fear death. Fear of death is the ultimate leash used to keep you in line. When you're afraid to lose your life or lifestyle, you become easy to control. You take the safe option and hide when you should stand. Musashi lived as if he were already dead. In the modern world, this translates to the fear of social or financial death. Break the leash. Accept that everything you have is temporary. Once you internalize this, you gain a ferocity that others cannot comprehend. Stop trying to preserve your life. Start trying to make it worth the inevitable end. Rule 18. Do not seek to possess goods or fiefs for your old age. Most men spend their prime years building a fortress for a version of themselves that doesn't exist yet, trading their strongest years for the hope of a comfortable decline. This is a scam. Do not be the man who is rich in his 60s, but was a slave in his 20s. Real wealth is the ability to spend your time exactly how you want, right now. Invest in your skills and your mind. Be so powerful now that your future self won't need a fortress to survive. Rule 19. Respect Buddha and the gods without relying on their help. This is the rule of absolute self-reliance. Respect the divine, but never walk into a duel praying for a miracle. Most people use the universe as a cosmic excuse for their own laziness, waiting for a sign. If you're in a hole, don't pray for a ladder. Start climbing. The divine favors the man who acts. When you stop relying on external help, You discover a reservoir of strength you never knew you had. You are the architect and the protector. Win anyway. Rule 20. You may abandon your own body, but you must preserve your honor. Your body is a temporary vessel, but your honor, your integrity, is the only thing that echoes into eternity. Musashi saw men save their lives by sacrificing their honor only to live as hollow shells. Honor is what you know to be true when you are alone in the dark. It is the refusal to compromise your principles for a temporary advantage. In a world of snakes, being a man of your word is a revolutionary act. You can lose everything else, but as long as your honor is intact, you are still a king. Rule 21. Never stray from the way. This is the final seal. The way is not a destination, it is a perpetual state of being. Most people try things until they get boring. These people are tourists in the land of mastery. The way is the daily grind, the relentless pursuit of excellence in everything you do. Stay on the path when it's raining, when you're tired, and when no one is cheering. Consistency is the only difference between a legend and a forgotten shadow. Never stray, never surrender, never stop.